Have you been thinking about making a move to Denver, specifically something on the west side, like a Golden, Lakewood, Arvada, maybe Wheat Ridge? Well, stay tuned. Today's video is going to cover what it is like living in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. Hi everybody, I am Warren Bunker with the Bunker team at Keller Williams Advantage, and together with my wife Kelsey, we have helped hundreds of people just like you make this move to the Denver metro area. And if you are interested in making a move, please consider giving us a call, text, shooting us an email, whatever works for you for communication. We'd love to be a part of your process. All right, so if you're thinking about Wheat Ridge as an area that you might want to end up, we're going to go through pros and cons of what it's like to live in Wheat Ridge, Colorado today. Okay, let's start with number one. The first pro of living in Wheat Ridge is going to be the most obvious. It is more affordable than a couple of these surrounding suburbs. We've talked about Golden, Arvada, we've talked about Lakewood a little bit. Wheat Ridge is going to probably be the most affordable on the west side before you start getting too far north. Still pretty good access to about everything that you're going to want to do. Maybe not walking right out your front door like in Golden, but still not far away whatsoever. So more affordable, proximity is still pretty close by. Pro number two, Wheat Ridge in general it's just an older, more established area that has a lot of larger lots. When we were doing our tour of Wheat Ridge, and I've actually lived in Wheat Ridge a couple of different times in my younger life, noticed that it feels, we're going to say eclectic, right? Instead of master planned as strictly as some of the other close by cities have been, a lot of these neighborhoods kind of popped up a long time ago, some of them 50s, 70s, some of them even a little bit before that, but it was much more common to see large lots at that point. I always joke around with people that sometime in the mid-90s, builders realized that if we give everybody these little teeny tiny backyards, then we can squeeze a handful more homes out of the same development and make more money. And that's why everything built somewhere 90s to early 2000s or newer is very difficult to find a large backyard. Wheat Ridge doesn't have that problem. A lot of the homes, since they were built in kind of older times, were built on larger lots. So it's very cool. A lot of great big established trees, really large cottonwoods and things like that. And a lot of the neighborhoods actually have, funny enough, because it's not necessarily into the foothills or mountains, almost a mountain town vibe with the way that they were originally pulled together. Instead of lot and block planned, everything was just sort of, kind of feels like it was cobbled together. I guess if you watch the video of living in Wheat Ridge, you might get a feel for what I'm saying, but it's a very cool, unique feel, almost like a city that just allows you to do what it is that you want to do with your own property, which is really cool. Like most of our suburbs we have on the west side, pro number three for Wheat Ridge is going to be easy access, not just to downtown Denver, Denver Tech Center, the mountains. That's what we're talking about here. A lot of people are coming to Denver because they have close proximity to hiking, biking, skiing, camping, whatever it is that you're doing up in and around the mountains or outdoors. And Wheat Ridge is no different. Not far from tons of trails, easy to get up to and easy to get into the Denver area as well. So pro number three, Wheat Ridge has still great access to everything in and around the Denver area. Your commute, even all the way out to the airport, is not going to be too bad. And then pro number four, Wheat Ridge is an up-and-coming pub, brewery, and restaurant scene. A lot of the areas around it have already had these established downtowns and places where the restaurant business, the breweries, the pubs, the things like that have gotten really popular. Wheat Ridge is now coming along. I think they've had a hard time before because there's not an area that you think of for Wheat Ridge that is like, yeah, this is our meeting spot. This is where we're going to go. But we're starting to see a few more of those areas pop up. So if you're thinking about making a move to Wheat Ridge, you might be on the early cusp of some of these really cool spots to eat, drink, hang out, watch Broncos games, whatever it is that you do when you go out. Okay. Now let's talk about the cons. So the number one con, I think, for Wheat Ridge is that you've got a lot of neighborhoods that are still in transition. And, when I talked in the pros about how some of it feels kind of cobbled together, there's a cool feeling for that, right? I've seen a lot of homes in these neighborhoods that are just, they feel really like kind of old-timey. You could just imagine people living there and it's more of a village than a city or a town or, I don't know. I don't know if you're getting quite exactly what I'm trying to say, but it has this small town vibe in the middle of a city. So there's some cool stuff about that, but it also has made it hard for Wheat Ridge to kind of take the next step into more modern time where we are seeing people who want easy access to things. You want to see fun local places to go, things to do, parks for the kids, right? Stuff like that. And the city wasn't really built necessarily with that in mind. So it's starting to catch up, but there's still some transition happening to really rezone and kind of redo some things to make that happen. So it is a city that's in somewhat of a transition right now. Along with that, con number 2, it really doesn't have the walkable districts. So, Lakewood has Belmar, Golden has downtown Golden, Arvada has Old Town Arvada. I could go on and on and on. Every city in and around Denver pretty much has got kind of a historic downtown walking district that's a bit of an outdoor mall with shops, restaurants, activity, meeting center, things like that. Wheat Ridge doesn't really have that yet. They've got the Ridge on 38th, which is kind of coming along. There's some shops down there, but 38th is a pretty busy street, and so it's not one that you want to be crossing back and forth a whole lot, making it not much of a walking district. So if you're looking to move to Wheat Ridge, more than likely you're going to venture out to one of the neighboring cities and their walkable districts. You're not too far usually from even like a Sloan's Lake or something like that in West Denver, so it's not like you're on some isolated island by yourself, but there's not a great Wheat Ridge destination, truthfully. And then con number 3, again, this goes right along with what I've been talking about, these older established neighborhoods that weren't built with the future in mind. They can create some cool aesthetics, but con number 3 is really that Wheat Ridge doesn't have much in the way of new construction. So if you're looking for something that is newer, you like that new home feel like I do, then Wheat Ridge is probably not the place for you. It is hard to find land that isn't doing something else already in Wheat Ridge and turn it into new construction homes. For some people, that might not be a con. There's a lot of people that I talk to where we actually prefer the older homes. I like the older style. They say they don't build them like they used to, which I always ask, I wonder why they keep updating the code then. A little bit of give and take on, we used to think lead paint, aluminum wiring, and asbestos was great. We have learned better on those. However, quality of wood, for example, has gone down, as well as just not seeing as many brick homes and things like that. So there's some give and take for sure. Wheat Ridge is a place if you like older homes. If you're into new construction, you probably are better off looking at a different city somewhere nearby. All right, so that is it for the pros and cons of Wheat Ridge. Overall, I think my personal favorite things about Wheat Ridge is it's still close by. It is still very easy to get anywhere and everywhere in Wheat Ridge. Yeah, you don't really have your own personal little downtown Wheat Ridge or something like that to really go and hang out and eat and drink, but you're really pretty close to a lot of other areas that do have cool spots like that. So truthfully, you're not losing that much in that regard. Is Wheat Ridge a place that you could see yourself living? Let us know in the comments. And remember, if you're new to the channel and interested in all things about living in and around the Denver metro area, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button for more comment just like this, and we will see you next time.